Hello, guys. Welcome to Monitoring and Evaluation Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. I'm here. Okay, so if you're here for the very first time, I want to start by saying that you should subscribe to this channel because on a regular basis, I post updates in relation to monitoring and evaluation. So before you, in front of you, actually, is one of the exams that I gave to a couple of students. Now, I want to talk about this because some students might feel bad that I'm showcasing these past papers. But what I do actually is, and what the team does on my end, is that we'll actually give the same exam and test to different students at the same time all over the world for those who are enrolled in this coaching program. Now, I want to talk about this exam because it's a very interesting one, and I like sharing knowledge. Okay, so now here, the exams are structured in such a way, like any ordinary exam. You have the sections, section A, question one, and then also section B, section C. Now, let me talk about question one, and I'll talk about the answers so that maybe if you want, you can practice some of these questions and try to brainstorm around them. So the first question is like this. Every organization must undertake monitoring and evaluation activities in order to measure progress. In your own words, explain what monitoring data is and what evaluation data is. Now, this question, guys, shouldn't confuse you because it is just trying to, it's more like a quiz. It's trying to trick you. But we all know that data has a standard a standard definition. The only difference here is that this data, okay, is derived from the monitoring that you undertake, and this data is derived from the evaluation. So now the key is for you to know what monitoring is and know what evaluation is and know when it is done and know who usually does it. So the way I would answer this question is that I'll first start by defining data as the raw form of the facts that you collect as regards to indicators on the logical framework of or on a project. Then this data you explain when you talk of monitoring data, it's the data that you collect when you're doing your actual tracking of activities. Don't be repeating the same term. If you don't repeat the same term in your definitions. Try to branch out. Then evaluation, the same thing. It's the data you collect when you're doing your in-depth assessment. Okay. So these are 5 marks and you get the total marks. Now, question one, two. Okay. I hope you can see this. It says you have pre-piloted a data collection tool with staff. The questionnaire data is presented below. Okay, so here is the data presented below. So what is data collection pre-piloting? Now, I like this question because it it it's really the right thing you should be doing in your organization. Before you actually start using a data collection tool, you have to pilot it. So the pre-piloting is actual is it's more like testing to see whether the tool is okay. So you can do a piloting. Actually, there are two stages. You first pilot it yourself, okay, and then you the next stage is to pilot it in the field. Now, the next question is mention the advantages and disadvantages of pre-piloting. Okay, this is also easy. The advantages are that it helps you determine What can I say? It really helps you determine the flaws early. Okay, in the tool, it helps you determine information that you need to add. Okay, but the disadvantages are that it can be a cost, you know, because this activity requires money, or maybe not even money, just resources you need. You know, time is a valuable resource in any organization. So you need to set aside time to actually do this activity. What is in so the C question is in the table one above, list the quantitative data or qualitative data. So quantitative data is the data that you collect that is objective. Okay, objective data. So this is data which is easily countable. All right. Now the qualitative data is that data which is subjective. So I'll give you an example between quantitative and qualitative data. Quantitative data, for example, if you ask me what is my level of income, I'm going to tell you that I earn $5,000 a month. Now, don't think that's actually what I earn. I'll tell you that's not what I'm earning, but I'm just giving you an example. Now, this qualitative data, if you asked me, what color do you like? Okay, I'm going to tell you that I like blue as my favorite color. So that kind of data I've given you is qualitative because it's not easy to measure blue. You get the point. Another example I can give you of qualitative data is data like, for example, if you want to know how happy I am and I tell you I'm very happy, it's difficult for you to quantify what very happy means. Okay? So that's qualitative data. It's subjective. So calculate variance for each respondent. Okay, so if you saw one of my videos, I gave the formula for calculating variance. Okay, so variance really is really about trying to determine. It's more like it's a way of determining the quality of your data, and the key is in looking at the net income and the verified net income. This is where the key is when it comes to calculating variance. So if you want to know how to calculate variance, in case you didn't see the videos, you can write to me. I'll definitely set aside time to show you how this is done. It's a very important part of data quality audits. Calculate the average variance the same. So is the data of good quality or bad quality? After you've done all the calculations for variance of all of these variables, you come up with an average, and then it's going to tell you exactly whether the quality of data is good or bad. Now, normally, when you discover that your data quality is bad, it could be many things in an organization. It could be that you're not dedicating enough time to ensure that your data is error free. It could be that your field officers are actually being overwhelmed, or it could actually mean that your staff need capacity building. So that's why you need to do data quality audits. Develop a data. So section B, develop a data collection tool for table one above, showing the step-by-step process you use to come up with the tool. So now in developing the data collection tool, there's usually a step. It all begins with desk review. After doing your desk review, you come up with the actual tool. After coming up with the actual tool, you do a personal testing of that tool. Personally, you just sit down, you test it yourself. Okay, it's more like a desk review, another stage of the desk review, but you test it yourself on the desk. Then after that stage, you do the field testing, which is the pre-piloting with your field staff. So after piloting the tool in the field, then that is when you do the correction, and then you launch the tool, and then you do the actual data collection. I forgot to mention that in the process you also have to train the staff how to use the tool. So all this is 15 marks. Now, when building an M&D system, this is section C. When building an M&D system, it is important to undertake an M&D readiness assessment. Now, I want to talk about this because it's one of the things people take for granted. Every organization that wants an M&D system should do an M&D readiness assessment. The readiness assessment, as the name suggests, is simply an in-depth evaluation of whether your organization is prepared to develop and implement the system. Now, you'll be surprised that if I did a survey, if you did a survey, asked 10 people, do you want an M&D system? 10 of them will tell you that yes, we want a system. But the question is, are they ready? So the tool that you use to conduct a readiness assessment in the 6 months coaching program, we actually give you the tool. Okay, for those students who are part of the program, they know that there's actually a tool that you use to determine an organization's preparedness actually to actually develop and implement an M&D system. So I hope you really enjoyed all this that I had to showcase to you, and I'm so happy that you've been giving me all this support. I want to also mention that in the year 2022, a lot of wonderful things will take place in the M&E Made Simple fraternity. So I really want you to be part of this. Please, if you haven't done so, don't just subscribe to this channel, but share this channel to your friends, neighbors, so that everybody can derive the maximum benefit when it comes to monitoring and evaluation. I've been your host, Coach Alexander, and see you on the other side. Bye.